the fiery redhead here from the popular podcast Wide Open Spaces with Ilise. Guess what? You can listen to this podcast anywhere you love listening to your favorite podcasts. Go to wideopenspaceswithilise.com. Find out a little bit more about me, my blogs, my podcasts, and the world. Now, Ilise is spelled I-L-I-S-E. I know, a little different. Now let's pop in our earbuds and let's listen and evolve together. Well, I'm so excited to have you here today. I have a huge announcement, and the link will be with my podcast description or on any of my social media. I finally published my first book. If you're an avid listener, I've alluded to it throughout the months. It's taken me about 9 months to get it written, done, published. And if you're an author out there, you know how much work it takes just to get a book published. Well, the name of my book is Wanderlust Within, A Journey to Self-Discovery. Look it up on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, or anywhere you love getting your books. It's kind of something that goes hand in hand with this podcast, but I don't want to give it away because I want you to read my book. So go and check it out. I'll have the link later. And, well, you just might open your world into a whole new beginning or journey or road to travel down. Now let's move on to this podcast, which is episode number 160, which is kind of exciting to know that I've recorded and published 160 episodes. The title of this episode is Jelly Roll's song, I'm Not Okay, The Power of Music and Lyrics. Do you know what Jelly Roll is? Well, if you don't, I suggest when you're done listening to me, go to your favorite music listening platform and listen to some of Jelly Roll. It doesn't matter what type of genre you like. He's a mix between rock and country and rap if you listen to all his music. So he really taps into all those different avenues of music. And I believe that because he does that, he pulls some of us in who might not be country listeners or rap listeners or rock listeners. So check him out. He's a very unique guy. His exterior kind of doesn't really tell you who he is, even though his skin is full of tattoos, and I'm sure those tattoos tell so many stories about him. What you see and what you hear seem very different, but they make up who he is, which makes his music so wonderful. And I was supposed to see him this weekend. He was an opener for Morgan Wallen in Tampa, Florida. Well, and as I was driving and we were almost there and it took us 5 hours with traffic, a friend of mine texts me. She's like, is this true? And it says Morgan Wallen canceled his concert. And my shoulders drop. Because, of course, I've now been sitting in 5 hours, which should have taken me only 4 hours. But because of traffic, I'm ready for my destination. What's keeping me going is the excitement of his concert. Well, the text says that Morgan Wallen has canceled his concert in Tampa. It was okay the night before when he did his previous concert there, but when he got up this morning, he just wasn't there and couldn't give 100%. And he didn't want to give us a concert that he couldn't give us 100%, and I respect that. I mean, we all know if you've gone to any concert in the past year or two, the tickets are ridiculous. I mean, it makes it so hard for people to even go and see their favorite artists. So I appreciated that he did that, and he scheduled another date, which I can't make. But another reason why I wanted to go to his concert was his opener was Jelly Roll. And Jelly Roll's become my new obsession. And if you listen to me a lot, you know that music plays a huge part of my life. And I'm just not one of those people, like my husband loves to listen over and over again to classic rock. He barely listens to anything new. And I'm kind of the opposite, where I like to listen to the new and I don't listen that much to the old, except when I guess I'm feeling a little nostalgic or an old song comes on the radio that I used to like. And so Jelly Roll's one of my new favorites, and I love his music. He has different artists that he collaborates with, Eminem. I mean, it's just kind of cool. And so his new song, It's Not Okay, really took things to a different level. For me, in a mind of a person who knows people who have really struggled, and as a therapist who has seen so many clients struggle with feeling helpless and hopeless. And his song taps into that. And I just find it to be simplistic and beautiful all at the same time. I believe artists, especially music, they have a huge responsibility on their shoulders. And not only do they want a song that launches them into popularity, but it's also putting their feelings down. But they just don't put their feelings down. They want to connect with their listener. And so it becomes poetic, the lyrics of a song. And when you take away all the instrumental stuff, the guitars, the piano, the drums, etc., you're left with just words that become poetic when you take away the music. And as you read it, it's a poem. And poems as well are meant to touch and tap into emotions and feelings and memories and to make you think. Music is great when it makes you think about yourself. And that's what this song does. And I'm going to share the lyrics with you in a moment. But stop for a second and think about how music has touched your soul, currently, in the past. Think about some of your favorite songs that you've listened to that make you cry, make you feel empowered, make you feel goofy and laugh. You know, when you're driving in the car and you're kind of like going someplace you're all excited about, you put on happy music, right? And why? Because the happy music helps our brain release the endorphins, the happy hormones that lift our mood. People use music to lift their moods. I mean, why do you think when you're working out, there's music? And the music is usually the kind that has a beat that motivates you, that wants you to move and work faster. Music is so powerful in our lives. And if you only look at it, well, from the surface of hopping and bopping or crying, feeling sad to a song, but not really going into the depths of what that song does for you and why it does that, well, you're missing out on a whole experience. And there is a professional field called music therapy. There are music therapists who work with all different age groups. I've worked with many. I love watching when I would sit in their groups with clients, watching the magic that music could do. And as a recreational therapist, we use music a lot too when incorporating into our groups with our clients and working on coping mechanisms. And music is just a coping mechanism that you have in your toolbox. Whether you choose to use it in a way that can help you, well, I hope I'm getting you to think a little bit. So we're going to move on. I'm going to give you the lyrics to Jelly Roll's song, It's Not Okay. We're going to move on from there. And I think once I read you this poetic piece, you're going to understand just why I am sharing it with you today. Now, this is always a little hard for me because I have the music in my ears and I have to try to read this as if I'm reading a poem and not singing a song. So let's see how good of a job I do here. I'm Not Okay by Jelly Roll. I am not okay. I'm barely getting by. I'm losing track of days and losing sleep at night. I am not okay. I'm hanging on the rails. So if I say I'm fine, just know I learned to hide it well. I know I can't be the only one. Who's holding on for dear life? But God knows I know. When it's all said and done, it's not okay. But we're all going to be all right. I woke up today. I almost stayed in bed. had the devil on my back and voices in my head. Some days it ain't all bad. Some days it all gets worse. Some days I swear I'm better off laying in that dirt. I know I can't be the only one who's holding on for dear life, but God knows I know when it's all said and done, I'm not okay. But we're all going to be all right. Gonna be all right. Gonna be all right. I know one day we'll see the other side. The pain will wash away in a holy water tide, and we're all going to be all right. And now you get it. You get why I'm sharing this song with you today. Now, don't misunderstand it. Obviously, for Jelly Roll, there's some hopeless and helpless thoughts in there, possibly suicidal ideations. I can't speak for him. That's how I perceive it. That's how I connect with it. Because I've worked with and I've seen people in that despair that one day you wake up and you feel a little better and you get yourself up out of bed. But then there's those days where the covers just stay over your head and you just don't have the energy to get up out of bed. And when he refers to just being in the dirt, referencing someone who's passed, would that be a better place for me? But I know it's all going to be all right, and we're all going to be all right. And that's how he takes it. He goes from despair, what he goes through, how he hides it. Do you hide your emotions? We all do. We all wear a mask. We all have a mask on. You know you do. You know you only open yourself up to certain people, and other people you keep at arm's length. You know that you say when you see somebody, how are you? And they ask you how you are, and you're like, good. And you really feel like shit. We all wear those masks. Or you see somebody you haven't seen in a while, and you're going through a lot of crap, but you don't want to get into it with that person. So they ask, how are you? How's school? How's work? All good. Everything's good. How are you? You wear that mask. That mask hides us from processing and working through. And listen, I'm just as guilty. I think I wear a mask out majority of the time when I see people haphazardly. I live in a small town and, I don't want to share my woes with people that aren't close to me. And that's okay, as long as I'm sharing them with the people who are close to me. As long as the mask comes off some point that I get those feelings out and I discuss it. And so he talks about that mask, especially being someone who's in show business and has to get on a stage and perform for thousands of people. The mask goes on. But he's able to take that mask off dozens of times during his concert through his lyrics of all his songs. Because his songs, his lyrics are when he does take the mask off. And so you hear that and you read that. And then he moves to the point where the holy water is going to wash it away. And to me, we know problems can't be washed away, and that would be taking him literally. He means through the struggles and the work and the evolution of yourself that the holy water can wash it away. Put the past where it belongs, compartmentalize it, and move forward in a healthier, positive way. And he knows it's going to be all right. We're all going to be all right. And he brings you to the point where you feel positive and you feel like there's hope and a future. Because he had that responsibility. As he's talking about possibly ending a life, or the deep depths of depression, loss, grief. He didn't want to leave his listeners in that place with him, because he moves and he fights every day his demons to keep moving forward. And so even though there's days where he can't get up out of bed, he also wants his listeners to know that he does get up and he does move forward and he does do the work. And so he's really accomplished his goal by getting out what he feels, what he goes through that so many connect with, but how he copes and how he moves through it and how he evolves. And that message, imagine somebody who's struggling and listening to that song, that message leaves them with hope that it's all going to be okay. And if he can do it, I can do it. So powerful. It's so powerful. Now, okay, I'm talking about this guy that some of you might not even know who the frick he is, and that's okay. And you can look him up or not look him up. But I'm going to give you a task that I feel that you can relate to on your own personal level that focuses just on you. Now, you all know I love to give you tasks because you're here, well, to evolve. And sometimes that goes beyond just listening to me, little old fiery redhead Ilise here. It means you going out and doing some work. So I'm going to give you a task to do. And it's music as therapy. And come on, I'm giving you a task that involves music. So there's really not a lot of excuses I want to hear from you here. Okay, are you ready? Number 1, pick your favorite music artist. Now sit with yourself for a moment. Number 3, get in touch with your feelings. 4, identify some of your struggles. 5, what physical symptoms are you feeling? 6, look at the music artist playlist. Playlists are very important because songs represent different parts of the artist's life. And so you can find something that you really, really listen to and can connect with. 7, identify a song that speaks to you and the way you are feeling in this moment. And that's the importance of going through that playlist. Now stop. Don't listen to that song just yet. 9, print out or pull up the lyrics on your smartphone. 10, read the lyrics, but please read them slowly, reread. Number 11, highlight what impacts you the most. Yeah, get out that highlighter or a pen and write down what really sticks out to you in those lyrics and read through it a few times. Number 13, sit with yourself again and get in touch with how these lyrics make you feel. Yeah, that's a little bit of the hard work. The mask has to come off and you have to sit with yourself and identify how you're feeling in that moment. Happy, sad, hopeless, excited, thrilled, whatever it is in that moment. Number 14, make a note of how you are feeling as you process this. So pull your phone out and jot down how you're feeling in those moments. If you don't jot it down, you're going to forget. You might just summarize how the song makes you feel. No, write it down. Remember, this is a task for you. This is working on this as a coping mechanism for yourself. Number 15, make a note of any insights that you gain. And you know you will. If you sit with yourself and you really process these lyrics like I'm asking you to, you will truly be able to gain insight from it. 16, now you can pop in those earbuds and listen to the song while you read the lyrics. Because come on, we all know, we hear lyrics different, and sometimes there's been jokes how people think the lyrics are something and they're kind of silly and funny. So listen to the song and read the lyrics, and I gather there will be 1 or 2 words that you didn't think sounded like that or were even in there. Number 17, make a note of your observations again. Because now you're not just reading. You're reading and you're listening to the artist at the same time. And your observations may change due to feelings or things that you start to identify or gain insight into. And number 18, now just sit with yourself. Take it all in that you have gained from this experience. Now, this is an activity that I devised myself. These are my own steps that I put together because I do them myself. And when you're done with this, what have you gained from it? Maybe it's minor, maybe it's major, but identify what you take from it. Music is such a powerful apparatus for change, comfort, laughter, and peace. And that's why being an artist is a heavy responsibility. And you may not look at musicians in that perspective, but there is a weight. I mean, if you're a Taylor Swift lover, you know all her songs are about experiences that she's had. But there's always a message to her listener. And I think she takes that responsibility on, and she knows the weight of it and is mindful of that. And I think that is what makes a great artist great, is that it's not just about what they're feeling when they write those lyrics, but knowing that there's a person who's listening to them and how these lyrics can touch and make a difference in their lives. Now, truly, I could go on and on about Jelly Roll's song, but you don't want to hear that. I want you to stop and finish this podcast and go do this task. I want you to experience, pull back the layers of what music really is and what you might have thought it was, but never have you dug this deep and kind of gone through the layers of the onion and pulling them back number by number of those tasks. And what I hope and encourage you to do is that after you look at music and lyrics this way, you'll look at it differently forever. And that when a song you notice really gets you, identify what your connection is with that song. Dig deep and ask yourself, why is this song making me feel this way? What is this message telling me? Maybe it's something you're not even aware of that's going on with inside of you, but that song is poking at it. And there's a reason why it's poking at it, and you're starting to feel something in your belly, in your heart, and in your head. Listen, life is a struggle, and identifying the truth and what's going on with ourselves can be quite challenging. But in the future, I want you to consider to use music as a form of therapy, a coping mechanism that you have that you can pull out at any time. Listen, my friends, life is hard and life is challenging, but there's always hope. There's always room to grow and evolve and change. I think change is the biggest thing that is hard for so many people. To change, we get stuck in our ways, right? We are who we are, and this is who I am, and I'm never going to change. Well, I got news for you. We all change. The person I was 20 years ago, well, she no longer exists. She's a part of me, but that 20-year younger person would have never thought that she would have published a book. And on the topic of self-discovery, nonetheless, and the wanderlust that's within inside of all of us. Because we all have that journey that wants to be taken within ourselves and externally in our worlds. But we don't always take those steps forward because we get stuck in who we think we are and who we used to be. But there's a wanderlust within inside all of us. I want you to explore that. And part of that is using music as that tool. And I'm going to leave you with what Joel Jelly Roll says. Because life has its challenges, right? But we all are gonna be all right. Well, check out my book, please, and let me know what your thoughts are. Remember, positive thoughts always create positive energy. Go out and explore all those wide open spaces in your world. Next week, I'm going to be in Europe, so you may hear some lives or short podcasts coming from me, but keep a lookout. They're going to be a little bit different and interesting. So look for me in Europe next week, and until then, my friends, ciao.